Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome back to The Average Fisherman. If I look really rough right now, it's because I've literally been home for about 5 minutes. I just went bass fishing, the same spot that I went to yesterday. But I feel this is important enough that I came in, set my stuff down, and came in here to film this video because it's a concept that I don't think a lot of you quite grasp. I've gotten a couple comments lately about, the fact that I'm against spawn fishing and stuff like that. And, how do I, they set the limits and I have the, whatever. The truth of the matter is, and I've tried getting this across in a couple videos, but apparently there's a few people that were slow on the uptake and didn't get it. So let me be very plain about this, okay? And I'm going to tell you a story about the video that I'm going to upload later today. So here it is, guys. The big fish are not on spawn beds, okay? Let me repeat that for you guys. The big fish are not on beds. So if you're bed fishing for big bass, you are shooting yourself in the foot because that is not where the big fish are. That's just where the easy fish are, all right? So there's multiple reasons why I don't like to bed fish, and that's primarily amongst them. That's not where the big fish are. So the area where I was fishing today, it's not known for big fish. I'm just going to be honest with you. A really, really big bass in the spot where I'm fishing is about 3 pounds. And that's equivalent to like 10 or 11 pounds in most other places, okay? The bass just don't get very big in this spot because there's not a hell of a lot of fish in this place. But it's a really pretty place to go and kayak around and stuff like that. So I really like fishing there because the scenery is really beautiful. I'm not there to catch 10 and 11 pounders because there are no 10 and 11 pounders in the area. But there are 2 and 2.5 pounders in the area, 2 and 2.5 pound fish in abundance in that area if you know how to catch them. So here's the story. I got out, there was 4 or 5 other boats in the water, and I immediately pedal out to where I was going and notice, okay, these guys are on the beds because I know where the bass beds are there. And they're catching little small fish like this. So I start going around in kind of an oval pattern behind them. So they were on both sides of the bank, off to the sides, and I'm kind of like in the middle of the groups, 2 groups of people going around in kind of an oval. And what I was doing was searching for the females, okay? So one of the guys sees what I'm doing after I made like 2 circles, and he kind of talks back, he looks back at me and says, "The fish are on beds." And I said, "The small ones are," And he turns around and tells his partner, like, this dude doesn't know what he's doing. I was like, no, I know exactly what I'm doing. You guys are fishing for the small fish. I want the bigger ones. So they just kind of like, oh, whatever. And then I found them, okay? This is what I was fishing with. This is a swim jig in green pumpkin. It's a Strike King. And I was using the new Carbon X combo because that's what I wanted to use for the jigs today. Just why not, And I have a Rage Craw trailer there. So what the situation is this, okay? And a little bit of a backstory. I know a lot of you get pissed off when I ramble a little bit in my videos, but the truth of the matter is the what I'm doing or the why I'm doing what I'm doing is just as important as what I'm doing. And if you don't understand the why, then the what becomes less valuable to you. So you have to understand the context of the techniques and situations that I'm fishing in order to be able to apply that to for your own self, so that way you become better fishermen yourself using the information that I have. So here's the deal. Everybody knows that bed fishing is super simple. You can roll right up to the bed, you see the fish there, you cast out to him, you piss him off enough, he'll bite your lure, and then you catch a fish. But the thing is, that's not the big ones. The buck males that are making the nest and then tending the nest after the spawn are the small fish. The big fish are the females. They're only on the bed for a very, very short period of time, okay? When the males move up, when it's time to go spawn, they do the whole making of the bed. You'll see them with their little, lipstick pattern and the bloody tails and the whole 9 yards. The females are just off of the beds, kind of waiting around until Mother Nature tells them, hey, it's time to go, Then they go lay their eggs, and then they back off, okay? They're not hanging around the beds for any real length of time. Once the spawn is over, which is getting close to being that point right now in South Louisiana, by the end of March, the spawn is completely done here, okay? April starts bluegill, big bluegill season. So by the end of March, the bass spawn is done. Okay, but right now you're getting a lot of the bigger females in the area, or the biggest females in the area, are already at the point where they've spawned. Okay, so they're already moved off the beds. So where are they located? That's the trick. And that's what I was trying to tell the guys who were catching the little small fish off the beds. The big fish are not on the beds. Okay, the big females right now are in recovery mode. They're just back from those beds and they're feeding up, trying to regain some energy and stuff like that because they're sort of depleted from the spawn. They have to regenerate more eggs because it's not just a seasonal thing. Female bass don't just make eggs like for 2 days before the spawn and then don't make any more eggs until the next year. That's not how it works. The eggs take a full year to develop, and sometimes they spawn more than once a year. So they have to replenish their nutritional stores, put back on some body weight because, as you know, they don't really eat that much while the spawn is going on. So what the females have done by this point in the year, the bigger females anyway, they've already spawned. They've laid their eggs and they have backed off of the beds, okay? To the next secondary points and stuff like that, they're starting to feed up again, right? They're trying to get their nutrition back up because they've depleted themselves with the spawn. So they're not on the beds. They're close, but they're not on the beds. And if you're bed fishing for bass right now, and you're looking for a big fish, you are wasting your time if you're in South Louisiana. I can't say that enough. Right now what's happening is there are eggs and or small fry on the nest that the male bass are guarding. The only thing you're going to do by bed fishing at this point is take the guardian fish off the nest so that bluegills and whatever else can come and eat the fry or the eggs, and you're just going to harm the population. You're not going to catch any of the big fish right now. I've been saying this, and I tell this to everybody that I know, because it's just not the way things go. The big females are not on the beds right now. They have moved off. If you want to catch the bigger fish in the area, fish away from the beds. So while I was doing my little circle pattern behind them, all I was doing was kind of throwing randomly around until I found where the females are feeding. And once I found the area, just like the males stay on the beds, the females are kind of grouped up right now because they're chasing shad or whatever else the forage may be, which kind of tends to hang around that same area. And this was the one that got them today because they're feeding on small bluegills and stuff like that. So the green pumpkin swim jig is what got them. And after about 30 minutes, after I had caught like my third or fourth fish, the guys in the boat started to take notice, right? The same guy who was he don't know what he's doing. Man, what are you catching them on? And I just looked at him and was like, none of your business. Because if you're going to mouth off to me or something like that, when you start seeing me catch bigger fish than you and a whole bunch of them, I'm not going to give you I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. I'll make a video later on for people on my channel so that they can take advantage of the information. But guys like that, mouth off, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to give you any help. Just know the fact that they were fishing the beds with a small fish. I was backed off from the beds catching the big females that had already spawned, and they were getting jealous about the fact that they were catching small little fish and a couple of them, and I was away from the beds catching the bigger fish and a bunch of them. So now you guys know why that strategy works, and you know exactly the reason why I tell you, stop fishing the beds. Not only is it bad for the population, but that isn't where the fish are. Not the big ones anyway. What you're gonna do catching bed fishing for bass is you're gonna get a whole bunch of easy catches of small little fish, and that's all you're gonna get. If you want the bigger ones, you have to get off of the beds and actually go find where the females are feeding up post spawn. Anyway, look forward to the video later today. It's a good one. it's a good one with the guys in the boats. He got another one. Yeah. It's a good video, guys. Trust me. So I'll either be posting that later tonight or tomorrow morning, so you guys can see what happened. But the green pumpkin swim jig with the green pumpkin craw on the new Carbon Light combo is really what did it in today. So hope you guys are having a good day. I may go fishing tomorrow again, depending if the weather holds out. I'm gonna go to a completely different spot. I'm gonna test out the bluegills there. I'm not gonna be bass fishing. Because frankly, like I've said before, bass fishing for me is just something I do for entertainment. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not good at it, all right? I think a lot of people misconstrue that point, that they think that because I say I don't, I'm not interested in tournament fishing. Bass fishing is just something that I kind of do for fun. They think that I'm like casual or don't take it seriously. Like, just because I do it just for fun doesn't mean that I'm not a really good bass fisherman, because I am. It's just the fact that I have other fish that I'd rather bring home and keep, and that is bluegill and things like that. Bluegill, shellcracker, sac-a-lait, those kind of fish. So, take my word for it, guys. Stop fishing the bass beds, okay? That's not where the good fish are. Promise you. Get away from the beds. Use something like a swim jig or even a soft plastic jerk bait or something like that. Chatterbaits that are in shad patterns right now are going to be killing those big females as they move away from the beds. You'll do much better and catch much better fish doing it that way than you ever will fishing a bass bed where the small males are, because that's not the fish you want to catch anyway. Tight lines, my friends.